everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to come on here because we've had 3 or 4 days of snowy weather and it's been really cold, and I've been using this opportunity to test out my emergency equipment, if that's what you want to call it, or like my little solar system here. I will be hunting a little bigger panel. It's been doing good. It's just chugging along, but it's like, I have to turn it. Okay, you wouldn't be able to use the internet and stuff during the day, but a bare minimum. And to charge the batteries back during the day with the 2 solar panels I have. So I need to go to a bigger solar panel to charge the batteries faster so I can use it more than what I am. But I did add an extra battery to it, which has helped. But, it's still charging kind of slow with the 2 little things I have. I don't know what wattage they are. I don't remember. I think they're 80 or something. But I won't be looking to try to find 2 100-watt solar panels I can add to the system and see if that will, bring the charge in a little quicker. I'm actually going to, when I box in the porch here in a couple of days, I'm going to actually make an area that is specifically for, this charging stuff to be out there and not sitting in the middle of my living room like it's been for the last year. But I want to keep the batteries good and warm. I want to make sure everything, didn't mess up. Right now today, it's sunny and it's pretty, and we're charging 13.2 volts. And the batteries are, let me look back here and see what time it is. Oh, it's 12 o'clock. And they've been getting sunlight since, like 8 o'clock. So it's been 4 hours, and we're at about 75% charged on this solar system. Okay. If I get on the internet and use it quite a bit, or try to watch TV, which I watch, like YouTube, I watch different things like that requires my internet to work for me to watch TV, because we don't have cable or nothing like that out here. We have, it's just the internet we have. You can get TV and stuff through it. And it's proved to be cheaper than me ordering a satellite dish and all that mess. And it wouldn't be working either, because you can't put that kind of a load on this system I have. I'm also going to look at, when I get out there, I'd like to add, I've got car batteries, used car batteries, and I know they're not 100%, but, it monitors my internet all night, and I can watch a little TV in the evening, a couple hours, then I go to bed. And, it showed me that there's a little flaw there that I need to speed my, recovery time back up on the internet. Also, I took in, I built a freezer room out there. Y'all seen me and Charles build it, which, let's be honest, Charles done 90% of it, but I've got a deep freezer too out there that runs off of a generator when the power goes out. My power did not go out, but I got thinking, well, how much fuel is it going to use in that generator to keep them freezers going? And, like if I've got 10-gallon fuel, how long will that last? And will the generator stand up to the amount of time it's got to run? I run it off and on. At night, I did not. I done like I would do if it was power out. At night, I raised my freezer lids because it was down 14, 13 degrees. I raised my freezer lids and let Mother Nature freeze them. And then I shut the lids back in the morning when it was gaining, temperature. I'd go out and shut my lids. And I don't run a generator full time on my freezers. I go out and I'll run it for, let's say, 30 minutes every 2 or 3 hours. As long as you're not getting in and out of them, your freezer should hold like at least 12 to 24 hours. But if you're getting in and out of them, you will need to do them more. And my generator's held up just fine. It is a struggle on it, and it uses a little more gas than I thought it would. And I have another freezer coming from a buddy that's moving at, he told me to get it, bring it up here and, use it. So, when I get it in, I would definitely have to have a, more fuel than what I have. I cooked for 2 days on my little propane stove. I've got a butane and a propane. Redundancy is, my big thing. I like to have 2 ways of cooking, 2 ways of getting water. I also caught water up in case the power went off, and I used it specifically to see how much water do I need if the power's off, for 2 days. And they can tell me a gallon a day, but I'm telling you that wasn't even close. Okay, this was not counting feeding the animals, but for me to kind of wash dishes a little bit, and I washed them in a bowl, rinsed them off and everything, put them up. Uh, I used paper plates and I used plastic spoons and forks, so it wasn't I was doing that many dishes, but I also took a sponge bath or whatever. I didn't go get in the shower. I went ahead and just kind of scrubbed the stanky areas to see how much water it took. Where if it's out a week or so, I could judge about how much water I need to catch up. Now, I do have a water catchment system, but it's froze. It thaws out a little during the day, and that's when I go and like during the, when it gets around 12, 1 o'clock, I'll go out, see if it's running. If it is, I'll catch water and feed the animals with it and make sure my critters have water. It's worked out pretty good so far, but I do realize that, to keep the critters done and all that, and I've been leaving my water just trickling. Well, that keeps it from freezing, but if the power goes off, you lose that trinkle. I have a spring it's not my spring, it's a neighbor's spring that I have access to that I can go over and get water. It's good, clean water. But, I'd have to take the little mule off the hill, go get, I think I've got 4 gallons of water is what I started with. I moved it up to 6, and for 2 days, I've about used 3 gallons of water a day. But I drank a lot of water. I don't drink sodas. I don't drink nothing like that. And if I don't buy bottled water. If I do, I got it in the truck as if you slide out of the road or if you break down or something in the bad weather. I do have that truck emergency bag that's in another video. If you look, it's called a get home bag. Well, I do keep a little emergency water in there. And I tell you something I done. I went to a yard sale and I found some of them little cozy things. They're like little styrofoam bottles. You stick like a beer bottle down in, I guess what it's actually for. But I put my water bottles down in those, and then I took and wrapped them up a little bit in a old shirt that I was going to throw away, and I stuck them down in a Ziploc baggie. I put them down in a gallon Ziploc baggie, zipped them up, and then I wrapped them up in that T-shirt to help give them a little more insulation. And they're in the dead center of my get home bag to make sure that they don't freeze. And I go out there every day and I check that situation to make sure that wasn't freezing. But back to the point, if the power went off for a week, I'd have to have a lot of water, and I'd have to go and get water, and you'd have to drag it back up the hill. That's all there is to it, unless you got my 4-wheeler has a front end going out of it. It needs axles to put in it. Haven't been able to get to it. I don't know how to do it, and I'm trying to, get away to where I could, if I had to, use it and pull the little mule back up the hill with it. Which, if you don't know what the mule is, it's my little sled. I've got a little sled like the people use in Alaska to put firewood and stuff on. My neighbor bought it for me and brought it in because I liked his. Man, his is handy as a pocket on the shirt. But he got me one, and I use it. I wouldn't have believed how much I use that little thing. It's easy pulled. But if you start up my driveway, which is a pretty good incline, you'd have to, sit and hold it while you was trying to rest and then struggle on up. But, you need to test these systems, people. I know you think, I got a generator, I got 10, 15 gallon of gas. Okay. How old's your gas? Did you put Sta-Bil or something in to stabilize that gas? Is it where it's getting hot and cold, and it's getting condensation in it? Condensation will kill that generator quicker than anything. Here's what I do. I go and get, let's say 20 gallon of gas. If I don't use it during the winter, during the spring when it comes time to mow, weed eat, and all that, I use that gas up during the summer. So in the fall, I can put it back new. And if you mow and stuff much at all, you know you want to use more of that anyway. But it lets you keep fresh gas on hand. And I keep it stored in a building where it, the temperature doesn't vary that much. But that is something you need to look into. Where do you store your fuel? And remember, your generator has to have its oil changed about every, I think it's 100 hours. So you got to remember about every 4 or 5 days, you need to check that generator and change that oil because it'll start burning that oil. It gets thin because it's running pretty good. Now you got to go by hours. If you run it straight 24 hours, you're looking at 5 days, 4.5 days, you're going to change oil in that thing. If you do like I do, I run it for 30 minutes, about every 2 or 3 hours, just to kind of keep the freezers froze. I don't use it for inside house purposes. I don't try to run no electricity and stuff, but my generator's big enough I could. I just choose, not to. And as far as the power, I have these little lamps. Oh, hold on a second. I have these little lanterns, and you just pop them open, and they come on. Well, that one's dead. I ain't got batteries in that one. I need to go and get batteries. I did find that out too. I thought I had a plenty. Here's another one. So you just pop it open, and it gives you light for a room, and it is different from like a flashlight. Oh, hold on just a second. Like at night when you're sitting around, not really doing nothing, you're just kind of waiting to bedtime. This is great for like going through the house and trying to find a bathroom or something like that. And you need to remember during these times, you might need to flush that toilet. Now, I catch my water in my bathtub, but there's another trick on that too. Make sure that like the flooring and stuff under your bathtub can hold that weight. And I think water is 6 pounds to a gallon, maybe 8. And that bathtub holds, I'm gonna say 50. No, it'd be more than that, 100 gallon. And that's 800 pounds sitting there on those floor joists. How's your tub ranged to your floor joists? Is it just on 2 or is it turned where it's on 4 or whatever? If you start filling them bathtubs up, needing that much weight on there. I do, fill my bathtub up because I know my floor joists run this way and my bathtub sits this way over 4 floor joists. And under my bathtub, I know everybody's going to think I'm crazy, but I went right there and I took cinder block, set 2 this way, then I set 2 this way, 2 this way, up to the floor. Then I beat wedges under where my bathtub was for the purpose of being able to catch water. It's preparedness, people. It's all about being prepared. Okay, now, you do not want to drink the water out of your bathtub. Remember, you was scrubbing your butt in that bathtub. And it's got soap scum and, all this. And unless you keep your bathroom perfectly clean every day, then you got a lot of chemical buildup in your bathtub. I do not recommend you drink that. Do as you want, but I don't recommend you do it. But, that's just on water. Okay, do you have a secondary heat source? I brought out my little buddy heater and showed you the heat system I had for under $200. Well, I also have a little propane heater that's about that big and it's about this tall, and it's one that goes on the wall. I have the whole access unit where I can hook it up to that, and I have propane heat sitting over here now. I've got I think it's a 275 gallon propane tank out there. I make sure that thing's full, or I try to keep it as full as possible, where I don't have to worry about heat. But now, if you've got them regulators on the outside, you want to put your, I wrapped insulation around mine, and the one on the tank now, it's sitting out there, and I've got it wrapped up and taped with plastic stuff taped up, where the air don't hit that as bad. And then halfway up the hill, my tanks were off. I had to put one up here just out from the house. There's one sitting there, and I wrapped it up with insulation, put plastic around it, and I've got a 5-gallon bucket stuck down over top of it to try to make sure that it don't freeze. Depending on where you live, how deep your, gas line stuff is, you want to make sure that thing's insulated. You do not want your propane to freeze up when you need it the most, and that's when it'll do it. When it gets down there, you know, in the below zeros and stuff, propane will freeze up. Uh, Food. Okay? This drives me nuts. I went to the store the other day. This storm was a coming, and I knowed it was. Uh, I went and got some cans of beans, and got me a little bit of tuna, and I love those hot sardines, and I seen them, and I had to get me a few cans of that. I don't go. I mean, I don't go buy bread. I don't go buy milk because if you have milk in your refrigerator, you constantly open that refrigerator to get that milk in there. Okay, you're just keep every time you open that door, hot air rushes in, cold air rushes out, and you're destroying everything in that refrigerator to get a gallon of milk. And a gallon of milk is the most perishable thing you got. You stick it outside, it's going to freeze, which is fine if you keep the critters out of it. But, people get bread, they get milk and stuff like that, eggs. Okay, I understand they're easy to fix, which I've got chickens. I don't buy eggs. But I like to make soups and stews and stuff like that when it turns off like this. So I've got enough that, like the day they say the storm's coming in this evening, well, I will make a big stew and I'll probably make a meatloaf and a few, things ahead. And yeah, I'll put it in the refrigerator. But when I get it out, I make sure I plug the refrigerator back up to the generator and let it run for about 30 minutes to get the temperature back down where it's supposed to be. But when I get something out now, I'll put that pot of stew on and I keep it warm and I eat on that all day. Then, I'll let it cool off before I put it back in the refrigerator. Put it back in the refrigerator, run the generator, and that way everything stays like it's supposed to. You got to do a lot of thinking. Now, I'm being honest with you because think about everything in your refrigerator. Every time you open that door, it gets hot. You shut the refrigerator up, warm air stays in there. Okay, eventually you'll freeze. You'll take your hot air. I mean, hot air will go up in your freezer because hot air rises, and you'll start destroying everything in that little freezer. Uh, if you need at least, I like to have a couple types of heat sources. I like light sources. I've got candles. I've got these lanterns, and I've got rechargeable flashlights. I've got the old oil lamps up here. I've got some big lanterns that pop up. They don't pop up. They're real big that you just click a light on. And I think they run off of the big Squire batteries. I don't know what they're called, but they're the big Squire batteries goes up in them. And so far, they've been in there about 3 years. I did buy new batteries and have them on, reserve if I need them. But so far, they've lasted about 3 years, and I can't complain about that. But check your stuff. That's what I'm trying to put out today is go back and you can say, well, I got a generator, I got propane, I got this, I got that. Okay, that's great. What happens if it's like in North Carolina and a lot of them people still don't have power? It's, in a month or so. We went here and this was just snow. We went from Thanksgiving Day, no, it was the day before Thanksgiving, to the day of Christmas with no power. Okay. And, I was going down the hill. I made me a little system up where I could wire. I had 4-gallon jugs on a pole and I'd put that on my back, trudge up and down this hill. We made it work. I went to my neighbor's house and, made sure that they had stuff they needed and look after the old people. Check on your neighbors, call them if you can, and ask them, do you need anything? Is everything all right? See if they need something and do it before the rain. Like before the storm or whatever's coming in. We got a group here in my neighborhood that we're all in-laws and ex-outlaws and stuff like that. But I call them, hey, I'm going to the store. Do you need anything? The other neighbors, I call them. I'm running over to Walmart. Do y'all need anything while I'm over? And I'll pick up stuff if they need it. That way they'll have it. And I call and check on my elderly neighbors, see if they need anything. And, You know, my truck's a big long wheelbase 4-wheel drive, and it's not the most stable thing, and I'm not the best driver in snowy conditions. But if they needed, I'd get it to them if I had to walk it. That's just the honest truth. But check on your neighbors, check on the kin folks, stuff like that lives around you. Uh, don't let people do without because you have extra. Don't let people do without. I wouldn't. You know, I've got people that where I've got all this hog meat stuff. I know they can't afford to buy it, and when they come up, you know, if they need meat, I'll give them meat and try to make sure that they are looked after. But you know, do your checklist: food, water, shelter. That's the three things during national disasters, your most important things. Security should be in there, but it's not that important. You know, unless people's trying to come and loot what you got, then, you know, that's a different situation. But make sure your generator is in a safe location, that it's not being weathered on and all that. Uh, get you a couple, them little, okay, you know, them little propane tanks you get for a grill, I think they're 20 pounds. Uh, man, I got 6 or 8 of them. And, you know, I do have some of the little cans of propane and stuff. But I looked at a new system I'm going to add to it. I'll show it to y'all when I do it. But there is a pole that you can put on those 20-pound tanks that runs up. You can put a lantern on the top of it, and it's got 2 or 3 little outlets. Well, you can run one around over there to a stove. You can run one over here to a heater and stuff like that. And, you know, if you're careful with it, that'd be a mighty little handy thing to have. I'd put it on my stove. My cooker would be on my stove. I'd put my heater. Now, pick you up a little metal sign or a piece of sheet metal. If it's a piece of a dryer, something that's that's like 2 times as wide as your heater and about 1.5 times as wide. So, you know, that heat ain't being dispensed straight into the floor. That sign will reflect it, and it makes it a little safer for you. And if you've got small children, get one of them little kitty gates or something and build you a gate around that and make sure they understand don't touch it because they could get severely burnt with that. But, you know, do your checkpoints, try your stuff out, make sure it's going to work. See, I thought, boy, if I've got 15, 20 gallon of gas, that generator lasts me, you know, a couple of days, 4 or 5 days. It will be running the way I'm running it, but if I was running it full on all the time, it would not. My buddy bought I don't know if it's a dual or triple fuel generator. Man, I can't afford them, but God, I'm so jealous. If he would sell it to me and let me make payments to him, I'd buy it because it runs off of propane, it runs off of gas, and I think it runs off of diesel. That'd be a handy trick to have because if you did have to run out of one, you could just swap over to the other and continue right on doing what you need to do. But, you know, prepare, look ahead. What do you need if this happens? Like, okay, if you notice, I got on a t-shirt. Oh, I got on a pair of shorts. That's how I run around in my house. I keep it about 70 degrees in here. But I'm a big feller now. If you say I'm a big feller, and cold don't bother me like it does most people. I went out this morning. I just kicked on a pair of boots. It takes me about, and see, I've got things down to, you know, science, we'll call it. I go out, and I've got guineas out here, and I got a couple roosters run loose that hangs around the guinea pen. I feed the guineas. I throw them some corn out, you know, I throw the chickens that run loose some feed out. And I water both. I make sure that they have water too. And we'll talk on that too here in a minute. I go out here, I do the turkeys, I do the chickens, and then I do the rabbits. I make sure everybody has food and water. I was out there in a pair of shorts today and a t-shirt. It was I think about 28 degrees, sun shining. It was just, you know, it was cool, but to me it wasn't cold. But, you know, a lot of people would froze to death in that. But I try to, what you call it, acclimate my body to the temperatures and stuff in case something does happen. On your animals, if you got animals, they need water just as much as they need food. And if their water's frozen, they're not getting the water they need. Uh, something you may want to try. I'll make one and show you what my idea is. I don't know if it'll work. I'm gonna try it. But black absorb heat, and I'm thinking that I'd like to find me some little water pans that would go down inside of a tire. Put that tire full of like compost or straw, just whatever, to kind of insulate it. Put some on the ground, and put that pan in there. Put them around in that tar, and then use the tire to absorb heat and kind of help thaw that, keep that from freezing. But I went which I've got them all outside right now. I went to yard sales and stuff, and I bought a whole bunch of baking pans, different sizes. There's some that's, I don't know, 6x8 or whatever they are. But I get them with the deep sides because I can pour that half full of water. The chickens can drink it, or, I can pour it full if they drink it a day. I can pour it full. They come along, drink it. In the morning, I got to put more water in it. But when that's full, I can take that out, put a new one in, water them, and then I can beat that ice out of this one. So tomorrow it's ready. But I bought a whole bunch of little pans. My little rabbit bottles stayed frozen. If you got a cistern, like a water cistern, for them, it's going to stay frozen. Unless you got them inside of a bit warm, a heated building, and I don't. Mine's not heated. They're inside of a building. But I took them little loaf pans like you make bread in or meatloaf, whatever. Put those in there, took my bottles out, and I've got 2 per rabbit. I take and water them. When I water them half of that a day. When it gets up next day, I'll fill it up. When that freezes, they drink what they need. When that freezes, I take it out, put a new one in. Then I proceed to get that ice out of that old pan. I tried spraying pound minute thinking that would do, and then it might release a little easier. That was not the case for me. Might work in your area, but it don't work mine. But you got to plan, you got to prep, you got to be prepared. I've got a water bowl sitting out here on the porch. I've got 5 or 6 old cats running around out here, and they're them don't pet me cats. And people say what you want. Now my animals do not come in the house. They might step in the door when I'm putting something out, but they don't come in the house. You grab one of my cats and throw it in the house. Now I'm telling you right now, you probably have to rebuild. They don't like it. They'll step in the door when you go out to feed them, rake out whatever, if it's scraps, whatever to them. They'll come right back out of the house. My dog, baby girl, she does not want to be in the house. I've tried to get her to come in. I tried to make her a pallet just inside the door where she could lay in here at night. She ain't having it. I built her a dog house, put it out there. Put her a big one of them beds in it, for dogs. And put her some old clothes stuff in there. She won't lay in that to save your life. She gets out here on the porch. I throw some clothes down because she was laying on some grain sacks out there on the porch when I was doing the pot fill-ups last year. I had some bags bust, and I put dirt in them bags to get them on the porch. She was laying on them. So I put her some clothes out there, and I put her a cover out there and stuff, and she lays out there, and that's where she wants to be. She could get in that doghouse and be warm, but she won't have no part of it. It's still out there. I've seen the kittens go in it, Rough and Tough goes in it, and the cats will go in it and lay down. She won't have no part of it. And sometimes you'll look out there the other night, it was 17 degrees, and that dog had 2 kittens laying in its belly area. Why they do that, I don't know. But you can't get that dog to stay in his house. Now, she's not going to have it. She'd drive you absolutely nuts. She'd pace this floor, bark, go on like something crazy. And my cats ain't touch me cats. They're like, oh, pet me. No, you don't grab my cats unless you're ready for a fight. People say, oh, but you're being mean to them. No. They're animals. God created them to live outside. They get big woolly fur and stuff like that. I guess you could say the same about me. But make sure your animals have food and water. Remember, you got to add that into your water count. Like I know that it takes about 3 gallons of water to water all my critters every day. Okay, that's separate. When that water barrel unfreezes, I'll go out there and fill them jugs up, and I'll bring them in the house. If it don't unfreeze, I'd have to get it somewhere else. and that'd be going to the spring or using my water, then going to hauling a load back in for the spring. But try your preps before you need them. Go through and do a count, a physical count. And here's another thing. Talk to your doctors. If you're on medication like I am, I talk to my doctor. I'm on a 90 days where I get 90 days worth of medicine at a time through Walmart and through Pharmacy RX or something like that. But my medicine comes 90 day supply. So, unless I'm running low, I don't worry too much about it because I usually have plenty of pills the last several days and I don't have to run out to the store. But and people, if you don't have to be on the roads, don't. I know a lot of you young teenagers want to get out and prove you're a man. I get out and drive in the snow. Okay. There's a lot of people who have to get out here and they have to go to work. I remember when I was going to work stuff before I got hurt. And man, you get some people out there, they driving 2 mile an hour scared to death. Okay, why are you out there? You know what I'm saying? Unless you have to go to work, why are you out there? And if you're just out there sightseeing, oh, let's go look at the snow. Stay at home. Stay out of people's way that has to go. I got a brother-in-law that, he has to drive long ways up to about an hour's drive to work. And we worry about him all the time. We hope that he makes it up there and makes it home. But he'll tell you, as far as his part, he can drive in the snow. But he says you get people trying to run 65, 70 mile an hour in the snow. You crazy? And then you get the ones that's running 20 mile an hour, 10 mile an hour that, they have to try to get around or, it's just people's in the way or people's acting stupid. And if you're driving 70, 80 mile an hour on a snow covered road, you're stupid. I don't care. You can get friend me, whatever. I'm telling you, it's like this. You're stupid. I just want to come on and touch up about these preps and stuff because I did see, every time something happens, I check my preps. What's going on? How did it work in this situation? Like it may be like when the hurricane come through, is your stuff where it won't get flooded, where it won't get washed away? I had a lady call about flood insurance. She said, Mr. Raymond, would you like to have flood insurance? I said, honey, if I flood, you won't be here to pay me my insurance. She said, what do you mean? I said, I'm up on this mountain and it about to have an ark to come and get me if it flooded out that bad. But, if you're in lower lands, where is your supplies where they're safe? Could you get to them if it did become a national emergency or something like that? But, you need to think about all this stuff. And, if you have to do I thought about this. My dairy, when I put my dairy in, it's going to be I think it's 12 by 14 is what we come up with. I'm going to make about a 4-foot section of it where, like, I store my gas in there. I store everything in, like my generator will be in there. My emergency prepared stuff will be in there. But I'm going to waterproof it. I'm not going to put a window in it. The door will be the only place that water could come in. And I'm going to try to find like a watertight door where if I have to shut it up, I don't have to worry about that water destroying my preps. Even if it got to my house, I would still have my preps to fall back on. But check your food supplies. If they're hollering, you're going to get a snowstorm, big blizzard coming, let's say Friday, go Wednesday, go Tuesday. If you got the money and get your supplies in, make sure you got water caught up because the power goes out. Most of the time your water don't work. I guess if you're on town water, it might until the pressure in those systems goes down. If where your pump station is, whatever, loses power, you're going to lose water eventually too. So, be prepared for that. Heat. You have to have heat, people. If you don't, you will die. Make sure you have a heat source besides electric. And, if it's nothing but a little propane fireplace that looks like decorations until you need it, well, that'd come in awful handy when you need it. I do like propane. I know people that runs kerosene, but the kerosene is almost $6.50 a gallon. I think now, maybe even $7 a gallon. I can't afford that. And I do, even though I have propane and my system should not shut down, I have a secondary system if I have to go get it. And I can bring it here in the house and heat my house. But it doesn't cost a fortune if you'll do things like yard sales. You can go to yard sales and somebody have an old propane tank sitting there and you go, how much you have to have out of that tank? Most time it's like $5. And I bought a couple for 10. It was full. And, they just want rid of it. They don't deal with it. And they're not thinking on the prepper side like some of us do. And I'll buy those $10 tanks all day. And if I buy one for $5 and I've got the money, I'll run on down to the guys where I get my propane filled, have them cap that up. I'll bring it and put it in, into the storage area where I keep a lot of my propane and stuff. But remember, the reason I like propane is propane don't go bad. It's not like gas, where you have to worry about putting all this stuff in it. It's going to work like it's supposed to unless you freeze it up. But I hope this helps you. We'll go over some more things in detail when I get the stuff here to do it. And I'll explain to you why I'm doing it and all that. But I want everybody to give an honest, conscious thought. Test your equipment. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 deep freezes, and they have to run off my generator, and my refrigerator has to run off my generator. The little freezer in my kitchen, I got a buddy out here, Wade moved off, but he's wanting that little freezer, and I think I'm gonna give it to him because it's a little small one. I keep my seeds in it, and I will migrate them into another freezer. And then I've got a freezer coming that's not hardly full, but I'm gonna, if they tell me to keep the meat and stuff in, I will. And then I will off bar until the freezer is either turned off and being used for something else. But I'm going to try to have at least 2 or 3 freezers that I can run off my generator, and I will make sure I have enough fuel for it. I will make sure I have food. Get canned food, people. Get canned food. Okay, if you notice during Christmas, I bought a bunch of stuff. They had corn and green beans, and I found carrots and peas and stuff. 50 cents a can. You ain't seen that in a while. Walmart in my area over here had that, and I went and I bought a case of each, brought in and put it up. It's not, what I done was I went and got my old cans, brought them out to eat, and put those new cans back there where I keep my canned stuff. But I try to rotate people. Eat the old, put back the new. Well, check your battery supply. Guilty. I have batteries I bought these, and I might do, if somebody knows something about these rechargeable batteries, I bought this little rechargeables. I got a couple. Let me do a video on that so we can do it as an individual video, because I have some questions, and I hope somebody can answer me what in the world is going on. Because I had all these batteries to go on this charging system, and I bought the little chargers, but I'm having issues. But I'm going to close this video out. We'll touch up on this batteries and what's going on with that. See if we can't get a conversation going, trying to figure out what in the world's going on. What am I doing wrong? Maybe somebody out there can tell me, and it'll save me from, monkeying up more of these batteries. All righty, I'm going to let you go. We're up about 40 minutes in this video. Y'all have a good day. Have a blessed day. Be good to each other, and we'll see you on the next video.